Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a super sloppy sports and entertainment talk show that's hosted by a giant mess. That's me, the real cinch Neal Lynch. I'm a former college quarterback and pitcher with a film and media studies degree. Yikes. This here pod, I like to talk about Giants football, Mets baseball, moving pictures, and television shows, programs. I like to mix in some life stories and funny shit along the way. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the three-body problem, an adaptation of an award-winning Chinese novel that was created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. If you're familiar with those names, congratulations. So we'll talk about that and review all episodes from that series. So without further ado, let's get it started up in here. Let's talk three-body problem. This is a Netflix series, 8 episodes, all released at the same time. Typical Netflix fashion. And when was it released, Neal? Great question. March 21st, 2024, when I had a girlfriend and all was well. We were about to go on a trip to Key West, and nothing bad was ever going to happen. Like I said in the intro, created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. You might remember them from Game of Thrones. I believe Game of Thrones. Geez, now I got to doubt myself. Why you got to doubt yourself, Neal? Huh? Yeah, Game of Thrones. So you might hear those names and you might be turned off a bit. You might be like, nay, no thanks, pass, hard pass, just because of the way the Game of Thrones ended. And, that's not cool, man. You gotta give people grace. Give yourself grace and give other people grace. They deserve a second chance. They deserve all the chances because Game of Thrones was what? The talk of the friggin' town for so long, for so many years. So I think they did just about a fine job. Just that last season, not so great. So if you hear those names, don't be like, screw this shit. Keep on keeping on. You'll be rewarded handsomely. It's received fairly positive reviews. I will get to the critics' consensus and what the critics are saying. I mostly agree with the critics and with the audiences that have watched this so far. We're pretty much all on the same page there. But if you're not familiar with the program, this was one of the most anticipated shows from Netflix in 2024. If you remember that episode, I was really high on just reading the synopsis. I was really high. If you forget the synopsis, here we go. A fateful decision in 1960s China echoes across space and time to a group of scientists in the present, forcing them to face humanity's greatest threat. And humanity's had a lot of threats. Humanity has had so many threats, and they're all the greatest. They can't all be the greatest, but yet somehow that keeps happening. Wenjie, an astrophysicist who sees her father beaten to death during a struggle session in the Chinese Cultural Revolution, is conscripted by the military. And because she's all sciencey and shit, she's sent to a secret military base in a remote area. And she makes a big time decision without consulting anybody else. It was like, there's a chain of command. There's a hierarchy. There's protocol, operations. And she said she just threw all that out the window. She's like, nah, dude, I got this. And so she makes contact with the alien planet. Despite warnings from said contact at this planet being like, you know what? You might not want to do this. She's like, no, humans are fucked. I should know because I live in China. And so she sends the message anyway. And then all hell breaks loose. So episode 1 is titled Countdown. As we mentioned, this is what kicks it off. Wenjie's father's death at the political struggle kicks it off. She receives a copy of Silent Spring at a work camp, transfers to the remote station with the radio telescope, discovers that its purpose is for off-world transmission, communication, and then we see our boy from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Benedict Wong? No, that's wrong. I do so much research, and yet I don't really do any research. Yeah, Benedict Wong. He's our guy from Doctor Strange, or was introduced in the Doctor Strange first movie. Got another role, or another part in Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Cool dude. And I'm glad that he's in this series because he brought a level of, I don't want to say playfulness or lightheartedness, but his performance was very like refreshing. It just, everyone else was kind of like, eh. And then he comes along, and every scene he's in, it just seems like he just has, I guess, gravitas is the word. It's just like I don't know. He just feels like a three-dimensional character person who's cool as shit, likable, relatable, the whole nine. So he's coming across all these crimes. He's going to these various crime scenes where apparently all these scientists are found dead, which they think is like, you would think would be suicide, or some are saying suicide, but it's like their eyes look like they've been extracted from their heads. And one of the scientists, younger scientists, starts seeing a countdown timer in front of her eyes. And so I guess that's what drove a lot of these scientists to pluck out them balls from the cranium. Be like, you know what? I hate countdowns. I can't stand these countdowns anymore. I didn't even go over the cast, but I guess who gives a shit? I mean, other than Benedict Wong, there's, what's her name? Eiza González, I think it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't recognize a lot of these names. I recognize some of these faces though, like Liam Cunningham as Thomas Wade. He's a cool dude. I forget. Is he Game of Thrones? No, could be. He's known from, yeah, Game of Thrones. He was Davos. Oh, dude, Davos was the shit. Love Davos. You know, it's only been like 5 years since that series ended, and it's amazing what one man can forget. But yeah, Davos in Game of Thrones. He was in Clash of the Titans, Last Voyage of the Demeter, Solar Opposites as the pupa. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if you've ever seen Solar Opposites, but it's basically, it's from the one of the guys who created Rick and Morty. Yeah, it's interesting. This guy's been in 113 credits. Holy shit. A lot of work. It feels like he's one of those character actors. It's like you don't know him by name, but damn, does he do one hell of a job all the time. Eiza González. God damn. Being white is just, it's tough. You know, so tough. She was in Godzilla versus Kong as Maya. She was Darling and Baby Driver. She was in I Care a Lot. She was in Madam M, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show. She played Cam in Ambulance. I don't know if you ever saw Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal and the other guy. But she was Cam, who was like the EMT who got suckered into a heist, basically, where they jack the heisters, the robbers. They hijack the ambulance that she's in, and they force her to work on various wounded people. Maya and Godzilla versus Kong. Damn, that only came out 3 years ago, and I don't remember a ton about that. And she was KT in Bloodshot. Wow, I gave that a 7 out of 10, huh? Okay. Alita Battle Angel. And I feel like there was one more big credit, but I guess not. So she's the other name that I recognize. Oh yeah, John Bradley. We don't know the name, but he was one of the more annoying dudes in Game of Thrones. What the hell was his name? Samuel Tarly. Ugh. I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't want to say polarizing, but like I think most people like them. But I think that there's a healthy amount. It's not the smallest minority, but I think people like me, they're like, this guy again, Jesus. He played Casey in Moonfall. If you haven't seen Moonfall, dear God, that's like so bad it's good type movies. They just did an episode of How Did This Get Made on that movie, and it's a doozy, both the movie and the podcast episode. So you know, pop some eddies, knock back some claws, and go to the moon, dude. Yeah, so that's mostly his credits. So that's a face I recognize. Liam Cunningham was a face I recognize. This guy, Jonathan Pryce, who played Mike Evans, who basically puts the wheels in motion once he finds out about the whole transmission going through and what happens next. But Elliot Carver in Tomorrow Never Dies. I feel like he's mostly a villain in almost everything he's in. I guess he's in Slow Horses, The Crown. Oops. Damn, this guy's been in a lot too. 136 credits. What's he known for? I mean, you would know the face. I guess he's known for Glengarry Glenn Ross, the wife, and the two popes, dude. Whoa. Okay. You know what? I refuse to believe that. I know that he has more, but I'm not allowed to sort. Then screw you, dude. I'm gonna scroll it really quick. Scroll. Barbarians at the gate. Age of Innocence. Damn, homie. Evita Digmata. What a girl wants. I can't believe. 2003, crazy time. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. He's Governor Weatherby Swan. He's always playing a person with a friggin' old school wonky wacky name. The Brothers Grimm. G.I. Joe he was the president in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra and G.I. Joe Retaliation. He was the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones. Woo! You know, it makes sense. I'm like, hey, I recognize that guy. I recognize that guy too. I recognize him too. It's like they're all Game of Thrones. Doi. Okay. Yeah, so that's the other face I recognize. My God, so many actors. So yeah, Benedict Wong, Eiza González, Eiza, Liam Cunningham, Jonathan Pryce, John Bradley. So I guess there's the more recognizable cast members than I originally thought. That's probably why I didn't write the cast down, because I just figured, Eiza González plays Marjorie in the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I guess is getting good reviews, so I probably should check it out. Anywho, the whole countdown timer in front of the eyes, I can understand how that can be annoying, but as someone who's lived with tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to fucking pronounce it, for half my life or more, you kind of just get used to annoyances. And me being annoying myself, I don't pick up on how annoying I am. So maybe I don't pick up on how annoying other things are. But a countdown timer in front of your eyes, I'm not killing myself over that. Plenty of other reasons to off myself. Not a countdown timer in front of my eyes. But Auggie, played by Eiza González, the scientist who's coming up or developing nanofiber technology, which is basically you can barely see it, hardly see it, and it's sharp as fuck. My God, there's a scene we're gonna get to in the later episodes, but wow. And apparently it's a good filtration the system. It's got a lot of purposes. It's gonna change the world. But shows she's developing that, gets the countdown timer in her eyes. And so this mysterious woman, kind of sits down next to her and is like, yeah, maybe give up this whole foray, this whole job that you're working. Just give up this whole path. Just abandon it. And then the night sky flashes a pattern corresponding to the countdown, defying physics laws. That Wenjie, her daughter, she has a daughter. That daughter ends up working at a university where she teaches basically our main cast of characters. They're all scientists of some degree, or they all went to college together. Yeah, they all went to college together, where I guess this Wenjie's, definitely not pronouncing that right, her daughter was a professor. And so these were her students, and the students loved her, and she commits suicide. Part of this suicide string going on. IMDb gave the rating on IMDb for this episode 7.6 out of 10. And I would say it hooked me. 1,000% hooked me. Countdown timer, fuck yeah. Stars flashing, what's going on? Is this virtual reality? Is this another, is this a simulation? What's going on here? So it definitely captured my attention. It was like, next episode, you fucking know it. Netflix. Let's do this. By the way, Eiza González says Auggie. I don't know. I guess I'll I'll expand on that, extrapolate on that as we go through. But something about her rubbed me the wrong way, even though I want her to rub me, which you would think I wouldn't have a problem with her rubbing me in any way. But she did in this show. I don't know why. Episode 2 is called Red Coast. We're now in 1970s China. Ye Wenjie secretly broadcasts the message to the universe despite it being forbidden. This is where, as I mentioned in the long synopsis, this contact at this planet was like, "Are you sure? You really want it? You want this? Like, if they find out, or he's like, stop now, shut up, because if you keep going, I'm a pacifist or something. I'm peaceful, but the rest of this planet, not so much. And if they catch wind of you and this and that, like, they're gonna bring hell." She's like, "Can't be any worse than what it is." Click. So she ends up meeting an environmentalist, confronts her dad's killer. That woman, oof, she is hard in every sense of the word. Just oof. What happened to you, girl? It's got some issues. Ye Wenjie receives a warning from an alien civilization, but dismally she replies, claiming humanity needs help. In the present times, modern times, current times, contemporary times, Auggie stops her nanofiber project while Jin advances in a VR video game, hyper realistic VR video game with using a headset that is pretty dope. I wouldn't mind having that without the video game, just having it and wearing it, and like, it just seems like it looks so sleek and cool. But no one knows where these headsets are coming from. They are not of this. They do not appear to be. The technology is so advanced, hyper realistic, that it's like they put to kind of do the math. I'm like, this is not man made. Like, no company has ever released anything like this. So what's going on? So John Bradley, Samuel Tarley, he plays a character named Jack, who is this entrepreneur who is rich, basically wealthy from his entrepreneurial endeavors, which from what I saw was mostly just snacks and energy drinks. I think that was just, I don't know if he probably has a diverse portfolio, but I forget what else he was doing, but it was like, he's just an entrepreneur who he's just snacks and energy drinks. He tries Jin's VR video game and is rejected. As soon as he enters the world, a woman comes up out of nowhere and takes a fucking samurai sword, katana, slices him. And so he's like, what the fuck? And so later on, you find out that these helmets or headsets are intended for the person that it was addressed to. So Jin received it. It had Jin's name on the card. This is for you. So if anyone else puts that on, they're going to go through this like horrific death scene. And then we also find out that Will, I don't want to say Will is like a sad sack. His story is sad and solemn in so many ways. But Will is kind of a goofy, adorkable type of guy, maybe. But he's like pining after Jin, who is not world renowned, but up and coming prodigy scientist, emerging scientist, who's currently dating a dude from the Indian military. I think it's Navy. So, and he's a fucking good looking dude. And it's like, I think most females are like, yeah, you go with the Indian guy 10 times out of 10. He's strong. He's smart. He's fucking Will. Friend zone that dude. So yeah, that's the kind of guy that Will is, unfortunately. Who could relate? This guy. So Will confides in Jack, his friend, that he's dying of cancer. So we have this group of friends. Will, dying of cancer. Jack, entrepreneur, who is always looking for the next big thing, investment-wise. You have Auggie, scientist heading up the nanofiber project. You have, we haven't even mentioned Saul, or I haven't even mentioned Saul yet, but you have Jin, another scientist who is a math whiz, I would say, mathematically inclined, possibly, and physics as well. And then Saul, who used to date Auggie, which I still don't. I don't buy that relationship. Really don't. No offense to Saul, but like fucking Auggie, dude. Have you seen this woman? So apparently they used to date, and so now that they're all kinds of broken up, and so there's a lot of tension and conflict between them in every scene they're in together. And this is where Auggie, it's like she doesn't. There are very few times where she is, and maybe I don't know. It felt, I don't want to say one dimensional or singular track, singular mind, but it just felt like there was only like a certain range of emotions for her. It was just like annoyed or angry, irritated, and I mean that's currently what I'm going through. So I shouldn't. He who like glass house stones, I get it, but I read somewhere that you hate what you are. So if you hate someone, it's because you are that, and maybe it's something you don't like about yourself. I don't know. So me and Auggie both smoking hot broads. You get it. So Saul's Auggie's ex. He's also a scientist and big old pothead. Feels like he's smoking choking back that marijuana, THC. Yeah, you know me, in every possible scene. So it's they kind of portray him as this slacker who, if he just gave up the marijuana and really applied himself, he'd be blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's Red Coast episode 2. That episode had a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb. And again, another great episode. Another good episode, I would say. It's like you have my attention. You're keeping my attention. This VR video game is certainly something where like you're going into various settings, medieval England type setting. There's a desert setting where it appears to be like either way in the past or way in the future. Where, oh my God, that was friggin' weird, dude. Where the one world where it was like she's in the desert and she meets this little girl and this grown up, and the guy's like, you need to get behind this rock. What are you doing here? The sun is about to like torch us. And so hides behind the rock. The daughter, then I forget what happens to her, but she like somehow she doesn't want to die, or we can't all fit behind the rock or something like that. So she decides to just shrivel up. It's just like that was a wacky one where it's like, we're gonna shrivel you up and then we're gonna roll you up like a towel, beach towel, and we're gonna take you to this temple. And at this temple, Jin has to solve this problem. She ends up solving it, and then all the people jump. They all these other shriveled up people, which is like their skin, like no bones, no muscles, no fat. It was just skin. It's like they molted in a way, but they showed her deflating into this saggy like skin sack. I don't know. And then they go in the water, and all of a sudden they're just back to life, back to reality. All of a sudden they're like fully fleshed out, back to their normal selves. So, my God. And then there was another one where, yeah, so she keeps going back to this video game. She keeps getting through all the levels. It seems like all the levels, though different, all have kind of the same themes and concepts and like challenges and obstacles and whatnot. And so I think eventually Jack gets his own headset, and so he's able to enter the game with Jin and team up. There was like they're in a castle at one point, and there's like a river of fire. Yeah, it's wild. And then what was the third one? There was like they were talking to philosophers or something, some shit. And they were like, no, Socrates, no, that wasn't it. I don't know, some historical figures. And the historical figures are, Jin pitches her idea, their solution, and these other historical figures are like, that's no, what are you talking about? Auggie tries to put on the helmet, So this is episode 3, Destroyer of Worlds. Auggie discovers the headset that I think it's Jin's headset. Tries to put it on, violently ejected. Augie's, I guess this is part of my not distaste. It's just like, not a huge fan of Auggie because it's like, just seems like she's like a wet blanket. Just like too serious all the time. Maybe that's it. You just can't ease up and relax, dude. Fucking relax. This is the South. You know, you need to relax. So she's like telling Jin and Jack, don't play that fucking game. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And then they play it and they complete levels 2 and 3. Auggie decides to restart the project. So she reactivates the alien countdown, which leads to a shutdown. Level 4 of the video game involves a meeting with Tatiana, who's invisible to the cameras. Yeah, this Tatiana chick. We don't, I mean, throughout the season, we don't know much about her. Eventually we find out that she's like living in a camper or an RV, but like how she got involved with this squad, not a cult per se, but like this group of people, this community of people that are aware. Well, I don't want to, we'll get to it, dude. Jeez, pump your brakes. So they meet with Tatiana. Tatiana is the woman, that same woman who was like telling Auggie, hey, you know that countdown that you're seeing right now? It can all go away if you just give up this whole nanofiber malarkey. But during that scene where she's on the stairs with Eiza González, apparently there's like security camera footage, because they're out on the stairs by a park. And you just see, it looks like Eiza González, Auggie, is just talking to herself. Like she's lighting her own cigarette and blah, blah, blah. But so that's an ongoing like, what's happening? That made me think again, like it's a simulation, but a simulation within a simulation. Whoa, so meta. And this is where you have to take a leap when Tatiana does the big reveal that these headsets were a test to see if Jin and Jack, these humans that are highly esteemed, qualified, respected for their intelligence and what they've done, prowess. But Tatiana says, you've been accepted. There are aliens and they're on their way here because of what you saw in the video games, which was basically the world in each level was about to end, and they posed it was similar but different threat in each of those levels where the world is going to end. And because Jin and Jack were able to get through it and solve it all, Tatiana reveals, well, you passed the test. Here's the deal. These aliens, they live on a planet. The planet is currently undergoing, I guess, the 3-body problem. Although I have the definition up here, a problem of mathematics and physics, as well as classical and quantum mechanics regarding any 3 objects and the gravitational effects they may have on one another. So I think there's like, I mean, the example that I saw was the Earth, the moon, our moon, and the sun. That's a 3-body problem, I guess. But in this case, the aliens and their planet, there are two suns, I think, and they're gonna collide or go off course or something like that. So their world is going to end, or has already ended, I think. And they are now en route to Earth. And they will get here at Earth in 400 years. I could understand if a lot of people just turned it off at that point. Because it's like, wait, what? Unless we're fast forwarding and jumping through time and going ahead 399 years? Like, what? And that's part of the challenge, over the course of the next few episodes is trying to get people on board. You have people that panic and are like, oh shit, aliens are coming. But then you have other people like, yeah, it's 400 years from now. It's literally so many generations. It's so many goddamn generations. I'm gonna say so. It's usually 3 or 4 per 100 times 4. Yeah, like 12 to 16 generations of your family, iteration, levels of your family before they have to actually deal with this. So they're traveling at light speed or something close to light speed, and they'll be here in 400 years. And so that's when Jack's like, I'm out. And I bet there are a bunch of other viewers that were right there with him, like, aliens? Are you fucking serious? I'm out. And then Tatiana later goes to Jack's house and offs him, cuts him down, and security cameras don't pick it up. They just see him being held like up by nothing, almost levitating, and then getting cut across the throat and falling to the ground dead. So Samwell Tarly was like the cockroach in Game of Thrones, surviving at every turn, somehow, some way. But he doesn't make it through episode 3 of this little ditty. So I mean, for me, IMDb gives a 7.9 out of 10. I was like, okay. Yeah, I think that for most of after every episode, I was just like, oh, okay. All right. let's just go with it, see where this goes. Because they really have challenged themselves to figure this out. So that's episode 3. Episode 4 is called Our Lord. In 1985, Mike Evans. So this is the environmentalist who meets Wenjie on the younger side, and they kind of fall for each other. It turns out that he's like I don't want to say trust fund kid, but like basically, I think he comes from a wealthy, rich family. He was out there in the China land, just off the grid, trying to save humans or save birds, one of the two. He was trying to save something, creatures, animals. So that's where they first meet and kind of hit it off. And then in 1985, Evans takes Wenjie to his ship to communicate with the aliens, who are known as the Santi. Although here it says Tri-Solarans. So maybe there are 3 suns. I don't know. There are multiple suns. I know that. Definitely 2, possibly 3. But this ship is just like this huge, I don't want to say battleship, aircraft carrier type thing. Is that called an aircraft carrier? No, dude. Is it? No. Oh yeah. It kind of looks like an aircraft carrier. Huge naval vessel. Let's just go with that. And she's all about it. About it. She's like, yeah, we're gonna team up, and we're gonna fucking. So they use this ship that this aircraft carrier. It's outfitted with this massive dish, like we saw at that remote military base in China in the 60s. It's kind of hooked up to this ship, and they use this ship and that dish to communicate with the aliens, the Senti or the Trisolarans. I never saw Trisolarans. And then in modern day, Jin is able to get into Evan's organization to collect intelligence as they're trying to recruit her. And that's where Wenjie reveals herself as the leader of the Earth Trisolaris movement, aiming to help the Trisolarans take over the Earth, which is Santi. Santi is usually what I was hearing during the show. I don't know where Trisolarans is coming from, but whatever. And then that's when British forces raid the meeting, capturing most of the cultists. See, they call it cultists here in this little synopsis for this episode. So, and they keep saying our Lord. And they actually, I think they show, do they show? Yeah, they show Mike Evans communicating in the present day with the aliens, where it's like the aliens are, they don't know our ways. They don't know a whole bunch. And basically it's like reverse AI situation. Like now I use AI and I go on ChatGPT or Gemini and I tell it something or ask it something and it pumps out the information very quickly. This is like the Santee. The aliens are prompting this Mike Evans dude to be like, give us everything you fucking know about humans and Earth and all that shit. And that does not go well. So despite like decades of Evans and Wenjie, thinking that this alien race was like it's gonna be our salvation. I don't know, dude. So British forces raid the meeting. They capture most of the cultists. I think they capture Yi Wenjie. Tatiana's there. I think she shoots someone and then gets shot herself. But yeah, this community that lives on this ship, this aircraft carrier, I think it's called Judgment Day. Yeah, we'll get to it. Judgment Day. It's called Judgment Day. Not ominous or anything, but like they've had this community. There's like families with kids and moms and dads, and it's like a nice little commune. It doesn't feel too culty, other than them saying "Our Lord" all the time. what will this offend our Lord? What will our Lord think? What has our Lord been saying? So the aliens only communicate directly through Evans. So yeah, that was a nice little look and peek into. I guess it is a cult, but the group of humans that I never really fully understood what the end game was there. Like you have okay, so you got all these people, you talk to these people, you convince them that there are aliens coming and that they are our savior, aka our Lord. And the people are like, yeah, sure, yeah, no problem. So they they go on this boat, and then so they're gonna okay. I guess they have been not hand selected, but they have been recruited and they have accepted based on their like, well, we want in 400 years when the aliens arrive, we want to be the first to welcome them and to help them assimilate or integrate into the society. I forget what their mission statement was, but it's like, hey, yeah, you do you, whatever. Are you hurting anyone? No, great. Oh no, actually, you do. Okay, never mind. So yeah, Yi and Evans, hot and heavy. Mm-mm-mm. That's episode 4. It got a 7.5 out of 10, and yeah, it's about raising the stakes, right? And I feel like each episode just raises the stakes more and more and more to the point where it's like, how the fuck are they gonna wrap this one up? And I guess it's the same thing that happened with like Lost and with Game of Thrones, I guess, where it's like the books had not been finished yet, and now Weiss and Benioff have to fucking figure it out themselves and fumble. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe that doesn't happen here, although it gets off the rails in this freaking series. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm someone who pretty much sticks with it as far and as hard and as long as I can go, at least with TV shows, not in other respects. I'm working on it. But yeah, this one definitely was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But then uh they're able to pull you back in, or at least me in, by rationalizing and using logic. And it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. So that's number 4. Episode 5 is Judgment Day, called Judgment Day After the Boat. This is the episode that people will remember. This is the episode that if this, I mean, the series has been renewed for another season. No Siri. I said series. Thank you. Uh it has been renewed for I guess another 2 seasons. But it's only going to run 3 seasons, which makes sense. I don't think you need to, not every fucking series needs to go 5 seasons. It's like if you can get a nice story done in 2 or 3, like cool, man. This is the episode that most people will remember from this season. I know it is for me. Holy fuck. So I guess let's talk about it. Clarence, played by Davos, our guy Liam Cunningham, interrogates Yi Wenjie about being captured by the Santee. Wade, his team ambushes and murders those on Judgment Day to obtain data. Santee allow this, because they have eyes and ears everywhere. The Santee, they basically, I mean, it's already been shown that they've infiltrated security cam. They're able to edit security cam footage on the go, I guess, in real time, maybe. and they're just in our systems. They're already here in a technological form. So not their physical beings, but like they have basically corrupted, I guess the word is, taken over a lot of our systems, computer systems and whatnot. And that's where Wade, played by Benedict Wong, forgot to give his character name. But yeah. No. Wait. Wade. Sorry. Really. Who's Clarence? I don't know who Clarence is. Boy, oh boy. Does he have another name? That doesn't seem right. All right, whatever. So yeah, I think Benedict Wong confronts him. No, not confronts. Wade is played by Davos. Liam Cunningham. He basically orders the ambush and murder of those on Judgment Day to obtain the data. Auggie is recruited, and they want to use her nanofiber technology. Jin's boyfriend, the guy from the Indian military, I keep forgetting his friggin' name. God damn, Raj. Good looking dude. So Wade is able to recruit Raj. We're starting to learn more about Wade and Benedict Wong's characters and like how they relate, and they're kind of like very secret organization agency, not affiliated with like the FBI, CIA, or anything like that, but just like it seems like they have crazy intelligence about everything. But so Wade recruits Raj from the Navy, and he's like, "Hey, this is huge. You'll be saving the world, and you're the kind of guy that I need for this." Wade also recruits Auggie, and he's like, "I need them damn nanofibers, bro. I need them nanofibers." And what happens next will be forever etched and burned into my retinas, into my brain, deep, deep, deep down. This scene was unreal. So basically, they know that the Judgment Day ship is going to go through the Panama Canal. They set up shop. So Wade sets up shop with Raj and Auggie, and is like, and you're not too keen on the plan. You don't really know what the plan is. You just know Judgment Day is going to come through the Panama Canal, and they've got something set up, a trap, if you will. So ship comes along, coming down the canal, and all of a sudden you see these things raise up, and it looks like two poles, telephone poles, right? One on each side of the canal, and there's like nothing there. You're like, what is this? I don't understand. The ship, and so the ship starts to pass through between the two poles that are standing up erect. And you're like, what's going on here? I don't know. Are they like scanning the ship? What is the purpose of this? Are they painting it with something so that they're easily trackable? Like, what is going on? There's a guy on the poop deck, on the deck, who's like cleaning or doing something. And he's like looking. And I guess at that point, you start to see that certain things, like the hull, doesn't look like anything's going on with the hull. But then you start to see like the railing, little things that are sticking up, just like basically falling apart almost. And kind of like that scene from, is it Doom or is it Resident Evil, where like they're in that one tunnel hallway type thing, and there are these lasers, and if the lasers will fucking slice and dice you, sharp as fuck, and they'll slice and dice you. And you saw, I don't know how many guys or people were killed in that hallway, but like basically the laser passes through them and they just fall apart into like cubes, because it's like a grid of lasers, and so they just fall apart looking like fresh from the deli, just meat cubes. A little what's it called, that steak dish where it's like raw steak, cubes of raw steak, beef steak of no, lost it. So this guy starts to notice like, oh, what the fuck? These things are like falling apart as if they're being sliced, but I don't see anything. And then you see him, he's like, what? And then you see it, you start to see the nanofibers. And the nanofibers go through this guy, and he just doesn't even know he's cut, but he is cut all the way through. He falls apart. And that's basically what happens for throughout that sequence. for a good, I want to say 2 or 3 minutes, it's just like these nanofibers just slicing through this entire ship and all its passengers with the greatest of ease, like butter, like a hot knife through butter. Just and so it was, my God, it was a lot of blood, it was a lot of gore, and I will never ever forget about that. It was just like, oh, I'm witnessing an atrocity. Like this is a genocide, it's a massacre, and it's unlike anything I've ever seen, minus that Doom Resident Evil scene, where it's just like, I guess I've seen it in a couple other movies or TV shows, but this felt like way more brutal because like you can see, like you can't see it. A lot of like in the other movies and TV shows, it's like you can see the laser, you can see the blades or whatever, you can see what cuts through these people. You can't see the freaking nanofibers in throughout the scenes. All you can see is like the damage it does. So there are people that are like, they come out in the hallway like, hey, what's going on? And then they see someone that is just like friggin' sliced. Uh, like they're at Jersey Mike's and they're a number 7 Italian Capicola. To see that and then to run and then like get bottlenecked essentially and not be able to go anywhere and just and it doesn't make a sound either. It doesn't make a sound. Like you can't see it and it doesn't make a sound. There's no hum or buzz or anything like that. It's just all you hear is the squelching of the body parts being cut up and like obviously the metal being cut and like other things being cut. You can hear that happening, but like, and it just goes through the entire ship, unwavering, slicing everything in its path. And it's that, so the nanofibers are strung up, these 2 poles. Apparently the nanofibers are just like all the way up and down these in between these 2 very tall poles. So I don't know how many strands or threads or strings there were, but like, oof, just so metal. Like, fuck, damn, this series just took it up 1,000 notches. But this, like, so it just so it makes its way. The ship finally gets through these 2 poles, and it looks like it's for the most part, other than what's been cut up top, it looks like it's all still in one piece. It's like, yeah, a lot of the stuff up top looks like it's toppled over because it's been cut. So you think like, oh, it's just they set it up to cut the top part, and then it kind of slowly goes into the coastline, the land, and it just hits, and it, like all the slices like slide off. Oh boy. Oh boy. That was wild. It was just like boom, ba-do-do-do-do-do. Like all the big ass slices just coming tumbling off. Oof. And so Evans is stuck. He's caught up in the mix, and he's donezo. But he was trying to retrieve something. I want to say it's a book or a black box type thing. And so they're able to recover that. Somehow that didn't get cut. Okay. And it helps them. I forget what it helps them to do, but it's more intel, I guess. This is another situation where it's like Augie's recruited to do this thing. She had to be told about the plan at some point. Maybe she was kept in the dark. But Wade the whole time was like, hey, Auggie, tell me what's going on with Raj. I don't trust him. Raj, triple check her work because I don't trust her. So he's basically playing some serious mind games where he's like got them, trying to get them to, I guess, I don't know, work better together or something to that effect. And then, but like she had to know this was going to happen. What did she think was going to happen? And then it happens, and she kind of walks. I guess she might have walked through the wreckage, and she sees like, there's a kid's foot, because it's families on this fucking thing. She sees a kid's foot, and that's when it sinks in. Like, what have I done? And so she then she's like, I'm out. I want nothing to do with this anymore. Like, okay. She comes back. They always come back. Yeah, so they obtain the data from this black box or book or whatever. And that's when Wade plays the recording for Wenjie. This recording is of so it's the black box of conversations. Basically, all these conversations have been recorded between Mike Evans and the aliens. And so Mike Evans was trying to destroy it or delete it, get rid of it, so that I guess this agency wouldn't get their hands on it. And so the agency ends up somehow getting their hands on it, even though it's like everything was sliced to shit. And it's these recordings, these conversations that Mike Evans had with the aliens. And one of the last recordings was Mike telling the aliens a story, like a kid's story, a fable, perhaps, fairy tale, fictional, not real, but like has a lesson, moral, of the story type thing. And I think was it what was the fairy tale? It was the Three Little Bears? No. Goldilocks and the Bears? No. Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf? And yeah, the wolf lying. And so then that's when the aliens find out about lying and lies. And that is what flips them. Is like, yeah, we've talked about it. We can't trust you anymore. We have to eliminate you. And Mike Evans is like, wait, what? Like, we've been communicating for so long. You find out about a lie, and you find out that humans lie, and now it's like, y'all don't lie? Interesting. But now you got to kill us because we lie? Uh-oh. And that's when Wenjie's like, ah, shit. What have I done? A lot of what have I done in this episode? So this is when Jin and Wade discover that the Santee are also using sophons to stunt Earth's technology. And then the Santee reveal themselves with a message in the sky, a message sent out all over the world across every device, screen you can imagine, saying, "You are bugs." And then a giant eye appears in the sky, shocking the shit out of the world. And that's when everything goes haywire. So yeah, this episode, and you can see it in the IMDb rating, 8.6 out of 10. No other episode eclipses 8. I guess the closest to 8 would be episode 3, Destroyer of Worlds. But yeah, 8.6 out of 10, and I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, like, one of the best episodes of television. Episode 6, The Stars Our Destination, named after this foundation that is selling stars, which I think my aunt purchased a star in either my name or my sister's name, or both our names. Like, we each got a star. Like, you can purchase the name of a star or something like that. It's framed. I don't know where the hell this is. And it might not even be for us. I just know someone was gifted, like, hey, I paid to name a star in your honor or whatever. So that's a thing. And the stars are destination in order to raise funds for defending ourselves against the Santee. They have the stars are destination where you can buy stars, own the rights to stars or whatever for so much goddamn money. It's absurd. Wade, our guy Davos, and the PDC gather experts to intercept the Santee fleet following the Eye in the Sky incident. The experts are tasked with trying to figure out, like, okay, they're gonna be here in 400 years. If we go at this certain speed, it's still not enough time for us to defend ourselves or to what have you, to stave them off. So they're like, we need to go. What speed do we need to go to intercept them halfway, or so that we have, we can stall them, if you will, or at least get their intel and better prepare ourselves, because they got a stranglehold on us right now. They got their foot on our throat because they're limiting us in what we were able to do. They have eyes and ears everywhere. And so that's when this fucking series takes up another notch, where the solution that Jin comes up with is, well, in order to go that speed, our payload has to be very light, and we have to use an incredible amount of force to propel this package at the speed we need to get to them in time. Meaning, like, we can't intercept them when they're a year away. We need more time. Ironically, we had 400 years, but we need more time because they're suffocating us. The Santee are suffocating us. So Jin proposes idea where they will use radiation sails propelled by nuclear bombs. And they have plotted a course, right? They've done the math. They carry the one. And they have plotted a course. And if this package stays on that course, it will eventually get to the Santee. They'll bring it on board, and we'll be able to crack the code or get intel or something. Figure out how to defend ourselves. They only need like 1,000 nuclear bombs. So they have to. This is where it gets a little interesting because it's like, so they need 1,000 nuclear bombs, which sounds preposterous. Then they need to line up these nuclear bombs, line them up along this course that they plotted. And this package payload there's a little hole that's just the size of this, like big enough for the package of the payload to get through. And the bomb will go off and it will push this package of payload through through the hole. No, it'll blow the parasail, the fucking radiation sail, and that's how it's gonna get there quickly. I think they said 1% of light speed or something like that. And the experts are like, you nuts. You banana bonkers. But, and I too was just like, how are you going to get all those bombs? How are you going to line them all up? I'm sure this, like, and they even stated it, like there's a 1% chance that this works, or less than 1% chance or something like that. But like, we got to take it. We got to take the chance, and maybe we'll learn from it. And then we'll have another iteration and we'll do better. I don't know. So, Auggie starts drinking heavily because she's all depressed by the nanofiber incident with the Judgment Day. Yi reveals Vera, her daughter's suicide cause, and is released, which I don't remember what that revelation was. So sad. Vera was her daughter, was the professor that these 6 friends, Auggie, Saul, Will, Jack, Jin, all loved and were big fans of. And she like jumped into some kind of like, I don't know. It kind of looked like that. What was that station in? Where Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are fighting, and there's like, is it Return of the Jedi? No, Empire Strikes Back. I don't know. Basically, Vader picks up. Was it the same place? Luke gets his hand cut off, falls down that big as a port tunnel, long as deep void. And same thing happens when Darth Vader picks up the Emperor and tosses him down that fucking long, big thing. Shaft, if you will. That's basically what Vera did. She just swan dived into that thing. Which I guess was not a nuclear reactor, but they had something going on that she jumped into. Meanwhile, Will's having himself a grand old time. He's on, did he go through the chemo? I think he opted not to go through the chemo. Or did he go through the chemo? But he's on medication, he's smoking, he's drinking, he's renting this house on the beach. If not for the cancer, my God, what a life. And, he is confided in a couple people that he loves Jin, or they've basically figured it out on their own. And so they're like, if you got this cancer, well, not Jack. I guess Jack, who was in denial. Like, you're going to beat this thing. Maybe it was Jack, who's gone now. But Saul was like, hey man, if you're gonna go on to the next level, if you will, and you're gonna pass on, you don't want to go with any regrets. So you gotta get that fucking dog. You gotta tell Jin that you love her. And I was like, I think he ends up taking a train and going all the way in to see Jin, and then Raj is there, and so he just turns around and goes back, and he's like, "Nah, I can't do this. They're in love. They love each other." But meanwhile, Jin and Raj are kind of on the rocks because Raj was MIA, being super secretive. And then once Jin finds out what happened, she's like, yeah, you're pure evil, basically. So they're on the rocks. Will has some interesting hallucinations. I guess he and Jin had a conversation on the beach, and she made she folded a paper boat like origami style. Maybe he did, so I guess that imprinted on his brain because he in the hallucinations he's like constantly riding the seas in that freaking boat. Episode 7, Only Advance. So Jack has died, correct? Jack left all his money, or a large portion of his money, to Will, his friend, his best friend. And so that's why Will is able to afford this beach house. That's why he's like, money is no object. He's just going to spend it all because like he there's no reason for him to keep it. He has no reason to hold on to it. There's no one to pass it on to, really. So Will ends up buying a star for Jin anonymously. DX3906, Jin receives the certificate of ownership. She doesn't know who it's from, right? And then she eventually finds out and finds out it's Will and goes to him. And then she's like, do you know this is from Will? And they're like, yeah, where is he? Well, he's going to sacrifice himself to go on this mission because he's their only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Wade revives a chimpanzee from cryosleep and plans to enter cryosleep himself, but because they're not able to get enough nuclear bombs, that means that the probe, the payload, has to be, it can't carry a chimpanzee or a human. It has to be a human brain. That's basically all it can allow for. And so that they go to Will, and Will agrees that he's going to become the brain for space travel. They basically they hand him like an iPad, and it's like, are you sure? Yes. Okay. Are you totally sure? Yeah, I am. Are you completely 1,000% sure? Just like kept asking him if he's sure nonstop until he was like, yeah. So I guess he has to say yes or confirm 5 times or 6 times. And so it's like his finger kind of hovers on that last time. You're like, oh, will he or won't he? And he ends up agreeing. So Yi meets up with Saul and is like that was a weird scene on the bench where like she's telling him a joke. And the punchline of the joke is like, don't fuck with God, something like that. Like no one makes a fool of God. You can't put a joke in God or something like that. And so I was like, okay. Like I didn't get it at all. But I think she was talking about how the Santee, because they referred to the Santee as our Lord. The Santee is God. And like you don't fuck with the gods, you don't fuck with the Santee. I don't know. So Will euthanizes himself. And as Jin finds out about all this, she goes to try and stop Will. And when she gets to the surgical center there, she sees his brain being transported and cryogenically frozen. Yeah. And so she's like, ah, shit. And then Wenjie encounters Tatiana. And because Yi got on a plane to China, she knows that so she asked this guy like, hey, can I sit next to you? And the guy's like, why do you want to do that? And she's like, well, I know who you are, dude. So this is the spy that has been hired by, I guess, Wade to keep tabs on Yi after she's released from custody. And so I think her main goal is to go back to that big ass dish at the remote military base in China. I don't know, for some reason, like to communicate, maybe. I don't know. And that's where she runs into Tatiana, who kills her. We don't know how, but Tatiana is just like the angel of death, dude. Like she just looks like the actress kind of looks like Fiona Apple meets, the actress's name is Marlo Kelly. She was in Joe versus Carol, the TV miniseries. Dare Me, which was a TV series. But she kind of looks like a combination of Fiona Apple and someone else. I can't put my finger on it. But you know the kind of look I'm talking about, where it's like very attractive, and for the most part, you would think kind of harmless, but like has a really deadly side, which is like a dark, deadly, twisted side. I am not explaining that well, but I don't know how she kills Yi, but she does the deed, and she was so nice about it too. You know, I appreciate that. So nice, respectful. Um, you know, Yi was like, "Can you watch the sunset with me?" And Tanya is like, "Yeah, of course. I'm going to kill you, but of course, let's have a little moment here." So that was episode 7. Then episode 8, Wallfacer. Such a stupid name. Come on, guys. Wallfacer? I mean, I understand why they call it Wallfacer, but like the branding on that, I'm not a big fan. Like, can we get a committee together and figure it out? So Saul has had himself a one night stand. It's been, I don't think he's ever really gotten over Auggie, and has kind of turned to booze and weed to kill the pain, maybe, and like numb himself. He has a very like I don't want to say, what is the word here? Atheistic, no, nihilistic view, where it's like nothing matters, who cares, blah blah blah. So he has after a one night stand, Saul's one night stand is like, you don't even know my name. What's my name? Which I mean, who amongst us hasn't been there and done that? Like, it's just what's in a name anyway? You know what I'm saying? So Saul's kind of like chasing after her and is like, but wait, yeah, I guess he feels bad and is trying to salvage it maybe. And then that's when all hell breaks loose on the streets, and his one night stand rando hookup gets. So there's a guy on a skateboard, I think, and he throws them off somehow, like makes them kind of stand back or step aside, and the rando, the hookup, gets crushed, smoked by a car, dies, and we learn that that was an assassination attempt on Saul. So he's taken into protective custody, and he's chosen as one of the 3 wall facers tasked with developing a plan to defeat the Santee. The other 2 wall facers are much more, they have a lot more accolades, achievements, awards to their name, more highly regarded, have, all kinds of crazy awesome shit on the resume, and Saul doesn't. So it's kind of an interesting pick. Like, why did they pick him? And it's because, well, if they're trying to kill you, you must be important. You must know something, or you must have the key to unlock this whole thing. So we don't know, because you seem like a kind of a fuck up, a slacker, but you're our guy, because they apparently think you're crucial to defeating them. So in addition to this wall facer name being so stupid, the other 2 wall facers are not like, so Saul, they they outfit Saul after he ugh, where did he go? He met with someone and was like, no, fuck this shit. He leaves because I guess they pitch him the wall facer idea. Is like, no, that's not me. Why? I'm not important. He leaves the building and then he gets shot. And so that's when they're like, yeah, we need to up the security on you big time. And so they put him in this almost a full bodysuit, like neck down, where he looks like, those canine training videos, like police dog training videos, where the person has to wear, they look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but it's not white. It's like a grayish military green, not gray, military green, camo type thing. And it's like very heavily padded and pillowed. And then the canines attack and basically try to the person, they usually go for the arm, and then the dog like immediately drags them down, jerks them down. But like in the process, you see the person like is not agile at all in this fucking suit. Like they can't move, they can't really walk or run or anything. I don't know why I find that so funny, but I don't know. Just pull up YouTube and give it a watch. Canine training videos. Anyway, they put Saul in this fucking thing, but they give him zero protection at the head. It's like, hey guys, we can afford for him to get shot in the arm, the buttocks, the calf, the toe, the hip. I think we're all right if we gets hit in most parts of the body, which are now covered by this ridiculous puffy suit, but not the head. Why wouldn't you do? That's what they should be going for, is the headshot. So it's just odd that he's like showing up in this huge fucking suit, and then the other two wall facers are just like normal clothes, just regular clothes that they wear every day. Like, all right. But I think what is and CC, what's her name? CCH Pounder is in this. I forgot that. Oh, what a great name. CCH Pounder. She's only in like, I think the 2 episodes where they're discussing the wall, or maybe it was just this episode where they're discussing the wall facer program, or there's the end of the last episode. Whatever. CCH Pounder, greatest name in all of acting, is basically saying to him, listen, we had to pick 3. We decided to pick 3 to throw off the Santee. If the other 2 come up with something great, but our everything is pointing to you coming up with this thing. And the wall facers are called that because they are not to talk to, they're supposed to basically, essentially pull like a Blair Witch Project and face the wall, metaphorically speaking. Like figuratively face the wall and not share what their plan is or their thoughts are at all with anyone ever. And so interesting that they would pick Saul, because I didn't think Saul gave off that kind of vibe. But I guess in retrospect, looking back over the course of the series, you can see that there's something cooking in that old melon of his, and he's not being completely transparent. I mean, he shares his thoughts here and there throughout. So I don't know. I don't know why he's been picked. So yeah, he's a wall facer. He ends up accepting, even after everything. He's just like trying to get out of it, trying to talk his way out of it. When after he gets shot, he goes to the hospital, and they're like, "We caught the guy that shot you. Do you want to?" And Saul's like, "I want to talk to him." Talks to the guy. The guy is just like basically one of the cult members, who's like, "Yeah, I was instructed to kill you. I'm sorry, and I'm just sorry that." He's like, "Well, do you feel any remorse or guilt or anything like that? Like, what's going on, dude?" Like, very forgiving, and just like, whoa, if someone tried to shoot me, I'd be like, kill him. But not Saul. He was like, "I want to talk to this dude," and so he talks to him, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm a messenger, part of this crew that's in cahoots with the Santee, and I'm just sorry I missed. I should have hit your head, or whatever." And so I think that ultimately, that combined with talking to CCH Pounder really turns Saul's opinion around. He's like, "All right, I guess I'm a wall facer." Oh, and there's one more thing that I think ultimately sways him as well. Who's this fucking Clarence guy? Is Clarence Benedict Wong? This is driving me nuts. Yeah, Jesus. Benedict Wong is Clarence. For some reason, they have his name differently on the IMDb page. Whatever. So Benedict Wong's character, Clarence, at the end shows them something very important. But before that, Wade and Jin are overseeing the project. I forget what the name of the project is. Probably should look that up. What's the name of the project in 3 Body Problem? Staircase Project. Again, the names, they're not so great. I get them. They make sense, but they're just like, ugh, not exactly inspiring hope or confidence. But the Staircase Project that Jin came up with, that Wade loves, and that like Auggie, I guess the radiation sails are made of nanofibers, and that's why they're able to withstand the blast and not rot or corrode or anything like that. So Auggie like reluctantly joins after like repeatedly trying to quit the project and causing, Jin to chase after her multiple times. You know, Augie's just like, I'm out. I feel like I saw her say, I'm out, or I quit, or I'm not doing this anymore every episode. It was just like, and then she ends up doing it anyway. Literally, it's every episode. She's like, is like supposed to do something, says yes, backs out, does it, backs out. It's just all over the place. I'm not saying it's not realistic. I'm just like, damn, girl. So she leaves, she quits the project, and Jin wants to quit the project too. And Wade's like calls her bluff. So it comes, the staircase project happens. They're using Will's brain. Will's brain is going to be the one that's going to the Santee. So the plan is now that instead of having a cryogenically frozen chimpanzee or human that can be then thawed out by the Santee, and then you would infiltrate and send back communications. I mean, the ideas that they have are just so far-fetched, and it's like such low probability of working. But it's like, I think Wade says it. He's like, well, what's the alternative? We'll just wait and get killed. Like we have to act now. We can't just like wait 400 years. Like we need to be able to get cracking on this thing. And so he's like, no ideas off the table. And boy, oh boy, did they go with a crazy idea. I mean, we're going to take Will's brain, cryogenically freeze it. We're going to have nuclear bombs. We're going to attach his brain, put it in the container, attached to this radiation sail that's, I think it's made of nanofibers. I don't know. And then we're going to have these nuclear bombs, and we're going to set them off where they're going to be timed so that when the payload, Will's brain, passes through them, they detonate and push the sails and push it in towards closer to light speed. 1% of light speed, I think they said. Maybe I'm wrong. And then the thought is they just like, well, the Santee are so advanced that they probably have some way of reinstating, like putting his brain in, either putting his brain in something else or getting his brain active and working again. And so I don't know. It's just a fucking wackadoo idea, so off the wall. And I was like, oh, okay. And sure enough, like it's almost like a NASA center. The first bomb goes off, no problem. Second bomb goes off. Then there's like something. I think one of the strings on the sail becomes loose, and then the sail kind of flaps and it goes completely off course, veers off course. So it's like, well, see you, Will. Plan over. And I mean, it was like, I think they used like threading the eye of a needle 1,000 times. It was like the probability is so. I think they kept saying non-zero. Like, well, it's not zero, so might as well try it. And it failed on bomb 3, before bomb 3. And now it's just flung into space in the wrong direction. So Jin's pretty bummed, but it's like he kind of had to figure that wasn't going to work. Also, pretty cool way to like get rid of all of Earth's nuclear bombs, and ultimately, maybe that's what is going to save us, is like not having nuclear bombs somehow. I don't know. Clarence, Benedict Wong's character, shows Saul and Jin a swarm of cicadas. Cicadas have been around forever. We humans have tried to get rid of cicadas for so long. I think while I was doing research for the show, of which you can tell it was not great, but cicadas was trending on Google as one of the top searches, because I guess like it's cicada season somewhere. I want to say Texas or Tennessee. And they're like, how do you get rid of cicadas? And it's like, spoiler, you can't. And so because, he's basically, Benedict Wong was pointing to the cicadas and saying like, we have been trying to get rid of cicadas forever, and they just keep on keeping on, keep persisting. They refuse to die. And so then he makes the connection, like, the Santee called us bugs. And so he is basically making the association that humans are like cicadas and that we're resilient and refuse to die. So And that was the finale. IMDb 7.4 out of 10. You know, not a bad finale to the first season. No fucking clue where they go from here. It feels like there are plot holes, but maybe it's not, because there's a situation where Wade's like on a plane and he's like, I'm going to, his plan was to cryogenically freeze himself, even though he's not going into space. I think he said he was going to cryogenically freeze himself, put himself in suspension, and then asked to be direct order him to be thawed out, like, I guess, when right before the Sentier is scheduled to arrive, just to make sure things are running according to plan. It's like, spoiler, dude. Oh no, I think he say that he would unthaw himself every 100 years, or was it every 50 years? I Did he say that he would frequently unthaw himself, or that he would freeze himself and then thaw himself out in 200 years to make sure that everything's going according to plan? It's like, bro, things change kind of rapidly. And with you gone and cryogenically frozen, it could change in a heartbeat. So 200 years from now, it's like, dear God. So that was hard. He was on that PJ, private jet, Cessna, whatever. And the Santee, that one woman who's like, looks like she's straight from the Matrix, meets Ultraviolet, meets EM Flux. She comes on, like, they takes over the technology on the plane, goes on the screen, and is like basically saying to Wade, like, watch your back. You think you're hot shit, but like, I could kill you right now. And so basically, she's able to knock the controls out from the plane electronically, and it starts to go into free fall. And like, we could kill you at any time. And so I think he was like, why don't you? And she was like, I don't know, some cryptic shit. But that's the thing, is like, if the Santee have that ability and they've already been deemed hostile and they're already doing some hostile shit, like you are bugs, and freaking everyone the fuck out and saying we can't trust humans because you guys are liars, and can easily kill Wade. It's safe to assume that they can, I don't know, feels that they could basically take over anything and kill a lot of people. So it's like, I don't think these are plot holes, but I do think they're major, huge questions, gaps, where it's like, I don't know how they're going to be able to explain this away. So yeah. So what did the critics say? What was the consensus? Consensus amongst the critics said that tackling its ambitious source material with impressive gusto, Three Body Problems' first season proves a solid start that should leave sci-fi fans eager for more. And I have to agree. I believe I'm interested in season 2, but it's like, is it gonna be a little more grounded? Because season 1 was nuts in terms of like how we're gonna initially approach this. The fact that people knew all over the globe that the aliens are not gonna come for 400 years, and they're flipping the fuck out and like rioting and looting, and it's just like, but I guess it's it's a case of like, well, you expect the general public to believe anything that the media says, or that to believe anything. I mean, we're in the era of disbelief, belief and disbelief. Like, I believe in this thing so strongly and very strongly that I'm not allowing myself to believe anything else. So it's like, if you heard aliens and you think, oh, this is imminent, it's happening, I mean, dude, there's a fucking giant eye in the sky. And the stars are glitching. Like, they're here, they know what we're talking about. We're gonzo, like, quicker than that, in 400 years from now. So yeah, I guess I am eager to see what happens next. But it's like a cat playing with its food almost, right? The Santee. It's like, I think towards the end of the season, Wade and Clarence and crew began to find out that there's a way they can work around it. Like, they have to disable the sophons. Sophons? And if the key to that, oh, so that was, I think that was the object that they got. that was able to. I don't know, but Benedict Wong. I think he's got me watching. Liam Cunningham, awesome. That duo, pretty cool. Jin's okay. Saul's okay. Will was okay. Jack was okay. Augie's like permanently pissed, which I should be able to sympathize with her, but it's just like too serious all the time. And I guess that's bound to happen when the fucking a countdown is appearing before your eyes and you have no fucking clue what it is. So, but we get to see Auggie at the end. She's in I believe a Mexican village, and has made her nanofiber technology, all the specs and whatnot, public, free to the public, open to the public, open source, which thoroughly she resigned from the company she was working with, had a tete-a-tete with the boss. I don't even know what tete-a-tete means. It just sounds fucking cool. And was like, well, the guy was like, you're fired. We'll sue you, blah, blah. She's like, I don't care. It's already public. So she gives that information to the world. And you got to think it's going to have some kind of huge importance to defending against the Santee. But she ends up in the Mexican village where she's implemented the nanofiber technology to filter the water so it's clean. So doing some charity work, helping out those less fortunate, third world type situation. And so who knows what that nanofiber technology will do now that it's in everyone's hands. Everyone has the ability to use it. Is it going to be used for good? Is it going to be used for bad? Probably a little bit of both. Is it going to be our downfall where people use it in nefarious ways? Or is it going to be our savior and help thwart the Santee? And are the Santee really that hostile that they're going to just come and squash us? Or what's the deal? So it's very interesting. Like, where are the Santee at mentally? What's their mindset? I don't know. Top critics rated it 6.6 out of 10. All critics was a 6.8 out of 10. I don't think it had an audience rating, but yeah, I would say closer to 7. I would give it a 7 out of 10. But man, there were a lot of times where it's like, and I've been there before with some shows where it just has such an awesome premise. And you're like, I can get behind this and I will get behind this. This is amazing. It's not like nothing I've ever seen before. And then it just takes a hard left turn and you're like, what the actual fuck? And I can't, I just can't go through with it. But this one, there were multiple times where I thought I was just going to be like, all right, well, this is nonsense. I can't believe I'm investing my time in this. And then ultimately it was like, well, I guess we got to see how this thing turns out. So yeah, 2 more seasons of this. And I think they should, if they can do it in 2 seasons, why not? I don't know that this needs to extend to a 3rd season, which is crazy to say considering they have literally 400 years to play with. But yeah, so that's 3 Body Problem. And that's the show. Gracias. Para ti. Atención. Thank you for listening and watching. In terms of what's coming up next, hoping to do a review of X-Men 97. One of the best, if not the best TV show 2024. Holy shit. I know I just said that about Fallout, but X-Men 97 might have topped it. Crazy to say, considering it's probably, Fallout was one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive TV shows out there ever made. And X-Men 97 was probably like a 10th, not even a 10th of that. But damn, did it move me. So that's probably coming up next. Going up to the greatest little state, Rhode Island, for my buddy's son's college graduation party. I'm sure that I won't embarrass myself at all, being 43 and wanting to rage with 21-year-olds, 23-year-olds. Sure, that won't go sideways. So might have a recap of that, because we definitely need a life episode coming up, right? What's going on in my life? I don't think you want to know, to be TBH. And then I guess we should talk Mets at some point. This is one of those seasons where it's like reminiscent of the 93 Mets, the 94 Mets, the 95 Mets, 2003 Mets, like teams that are just make you hate baseball. So look forward to that. That's all I got, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, don't cry for me, Argentina. Adios, muchachos.